of the time, the room was half empty. All the foreign exchange dealers of London and the rest of the world went there. And they thought, well, we're not going to the conference. It's all dark. There's sunshine outside. We can have some fun. And that's what they did. So you've got to make sure the venue's got to be good, but you've got to, therefore, make the conference twice as good. Otherwise, nobody's going to come in. And they didn't. Technology will cover the cracks. Ah, yes. You've got to make sure you've got to rehearse your speakers. Last year, I managed I was the keynote rah-rah man for a Bank of America sales conference in Miami. 2 days. And on day 2, I stood up on the stage and said, does anybody remember yesterday morning at this time, 9 o'clock in the morning, a man stood up on this platform and made a 30-minute presentation? Yes, they all did, 1,000 guys, all nodding their head. Could anybody in the audience give me a 30-second précis of what they said? No. Could anybody tell me the subject they were speaking about? No. Could anybody give me the name of the speaker? No. That is the impact of the average corporate speaker. You've really got to tell them, you've got to come along and be rehearsed. You've got to practice. The reason most presentations are so awful is that the speaker, him or herself, is hearing that presentation for the first time themselves. It's the first time they've ever delivered it. They haven't practiced it. You've got to insist on, you're the bosses of these things, so you've got to rehearse. These are the rehearsal slots. You've got to come along. You've got to come and do it. You should have rehearsed your speech at least 3 times. Anyone who's speaking on your platform, with whatever visual aids they're going to use. None, hopefully, but if they've got to have some, then you've got to go through it with them. So that they at least know how their voice is going to sound. So you can say, stop there, you've got to sound more interesting. People aren't, are they? They come like, oh, good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Jones, and I'm in charge of accounts. Oh, God. Aren't we all asleep, you see? This is why you've got to, you don't have to have a qualification to have produced or to have directed somebody on a stage. You know when it's crap. This is where video cameras are terrific. Play it back to them and say, if you like that, do you like that speaker you can see there? No, that's you. That's you. And if you can't, because he's a very important person, if you can't get everybody to rehearse, if you absolutely can't, and I really don't believe that this is possible, but if you can't, make sure at least your opening and finishing speaker have been rehearsed. And if you absolutely can't do that, then make sure your final speaker has been rehearsed. So they say on Broadway, leave them singing your song. Make such a strong finish. It might have been a bit of a crappy opening, but the end was so good and so powerful because that person was a good speaker or had been practiced by you 3 or 4 times with all their visual aids. You've got to do it, otherwise people will not remember anything. They can't get enough of me. Don't go on too long. Sometimes when people get out here, you can't shut them up. Again, at this conference I went to in Holborn the other week, there was a lady from Ireland. I like Ireland a lot, but she enough, go on. Gourd. You've got to have a system, a wind-up like they do at all the big political conferences. 3 minutes, we shut a yellow light. At full time, there's a red light, and you've got to get off, because like on the Oscars, they start playing the music. Doesn't matter. You can carry on talking. Get off. Get off. There isn't a single person in the world who can entertain you for more than about 20 minutes, except maybe your professional keynote speaker. So don't let the MD or anybody else get up there and carry on and on and on and on about stuff. Shut them up. Say 20 minutes, that's it. Finish. Off. There's the yellow light. Just come on, see it? Right, then we're going to start playing the music. I don't care who you are. Nobody has once ever complained to me about a speech being too short. Have they ever complained to you? It's the ones that go on and on and on. I suffered from my bullets, now it's your turn. Here's the rule for slides. Try and get them to put up pictures, diagrams, charts, anything but bullets. Bullets are boring. PowerPoint is a good thing, but it's very dangerous in the wrong hands. And people do endless bullets. They think the presentation, the PowerPoint, is their presentation. It isn't. I was telling the team here this morning, I was at a presentation a few months ago where the slides, the guy actually was pressing on the clicker, was pressing the backwards button. And his speech was going forwards. Nobody noticed. It isn't the speech. It isn't. It isn't the presentation. I mean, it isn't the slides. It's you. Human beings, when they're communicating, it's mostly body language. You've heard this. A man called Professor Albert Mehebrian did the study in 1967. When humans communicate, it's 55% body language, 38% the tone of somebody's voice, and 7% the content. That's where Paul Gordon Brown got it wrong. He had a lot of interesting stuff to say, but the first 2 elements he just didn't get right. Somebody told him to smile, but it's got to be congruent. If you're giving bad news, can't smile while you're saying it. So just putting a smile in your face and saying your mother's died, it doesn't work. It's got to be congruent. And you've got to let people know it is about how things look. You ask a lot of ladies dominating here this morning. Any ladies, this is going to surprise some of the guys. A strange man enters the room over there, comes through the door. How quickly do you assess whether he's an alpha male or not? Quickly. How quickly? Instantly? Isn't it? Wow. Don't give it, ladies, men, don't give us a chance. Built into their biological makeup, they have to be able to make these instant assessments based on what he looks like, how he holds his body. And we do exactly the same. Men do it 5 times slower than women. Good for you ladies, bad for us. Right? But it is all about getting this presence going in there. It's not about the slideshow. It's about you, the presence in the room. Try and encourage people to get out, if they can, from behind the podium. Because that's how we humans assess communication. So much to pack in. One of the big reasons, this is the bottom point here, one of the big reasons that nobody remembers most stuff in most presentations is that there's far too much stuff. Listen to this. You are lucky if you're an average presenter to get one major point into the average audience's head in a 20-minute speech. You're lucky. Winston Churchill said years ago, that's all you try and do. If you come into Parliament, that's all you should try and do. If you've been in just up to 10 years, don't try and get across more than 1 point in a speech. If you've been in Parliament for 20 years, maybe you can increase that to 2. 2 points. If you've been in for 30 years or more, 3, but 3 is your limit. So when the boss says, you've got to get these 20 points across to the audience, they forget it. You're not going to remember. Try and get 1, 2, or maybe 3, and that's your lot. Like you say to your kids, how many times do I have to tell you? Lots, mind. You just tell me one thing over and over again. Tell me that. Then it'll go into my head. Eventually it'll go in. Not lots of stuff.